want to talk about this letter again. I've reread it. I looked at it whenever I got home and paid a little bit of attention driving in. And the way this letter is reading really sounds like a concerned father of a child. I know that I put out a video on it earlier, just showing the letter, but I wanted to kind of go over it. And the way this guy is coming through, he sounds like a concerned father, and I believe that he thinks it's human, and it well could be. I mean, I'm not going to know until I talk to him a little bit about it. Hello, everyone. So I haven't even watched the video with the letter. I'm not sure because I think a lot of people miss some stuff in it. So I'm going to read some parts of it, and the heading on it's Community Crime Alert. It says, "Hello, my fellow neighbors." So I'm not the only one that this has been handed to. I'm sure this guy's went around and stuck this in everybody's mailbox. Again, I've never met the guy. The guy now lives in a trailer that used to be one of my aunts, and she was the daughter of my papa's brother, my uncle Art. He lived over there. All the boys grew up around here. You know, the whole family did. They all moved away to mine coal in Logan County. Well, not all of them, but a bunch of them did. So they sold the house and the piece. I think it came with a couple acres, and sold the main house to another family. And one of the daughters still lives next to these people. So there's two trailers and one. Here, I got it brought up on Google Earth. There's two trailers and one house. This is the trailer right here. Now, this picture's a bit old. It was took at least a year ago, a few years ago, if I go by my property. So here, this is the main house where the mouse is, and an old barn, which I don't even think that barn's back there anymore. It was a big metal barn. There's an old pond up this holler. This trailer here is the people, and this area in here is where they keep the goats. These are cousins of mine. These here and these up here are cousins of mine. And they own all this. All this that you can see, they own it. They own quite a bit of acreage. But anyway, the letter, "Hello, my fellow neighbors. There is an escalating situation that we should all be aware of. I recently moved to it says where they moved to, the road and all that, which I've got blanked out, with two small children. The only new people I've really met are my lovely neighbors across the street and two siblings down the road." It should be up the road because the creek runs this way, so it's up the road. But whose land surrounds mine. The issues are of grave concern. Then they give 5 issues. And if anyone's got any questions, then ask. Again, this is all new to me. This is just happening today. But the first fact, an unknown individual has cut my 12-gauge insulated hot wire. And the wire was running PVC. That goes to my livestock fence. This has caused my goats and sheep to escape the past few weeks. Number 2, fact, my child found a decapitated deer carcass on my back fence the end of January. First of all, the number 1, a cut. I'm wondering if it was cut or how it was cut. You know, if it was cut with bolt cutters or wire snips or whatever. Because if it's running through PVC pipe, which is probably, a small pipe on the lead, I mean, I don't know. Just have to look, and if they've already repaired it, which I'm sure they have, and then Ask them about it. But anyway, the deer carcass found on the back fence, and I don't mean to laugh, but this just reminds me of my clan around here. They're all the time bringing in deer, and the end of January, they've brought the one deer head here, but usually they bring whole bodies in. They bring bodies that's been a lot of it's picked clean, and they brought just the bones and the hide in. All the meat's gone. Weird boogers. Uh, Here's another interesting fact. My security cameras did not show anyone entering the front of my property the day that this was discovered. Which, it's kind of odd. Kind of odd. If it was a person, people can get around cameras. You can do anything behind a camera and nobody would ever know. But usually security cameras, if you have them set up right, it's going to cover all the angles, so you would get a look at somebody, especially if it was somebody that. Let me show you. If it was somebody that used the roadway, they could have. However, this right here, there's a creek that runs right here. Whenever I filmed that tonight, I was coming up this way, and I did see high shine up here, which was kind of odd. But over here, this is all swampy, like just it stays wet in there all the time from the creek, where the creek is. Where they built the road here, basically what happened, where they built the road here, kind of pushed the creek over into the flatlands, the banks, and it stays pretty swampy in there. So if somebody would come in this way and cut the fence, then I could see it. However, if to do that, they would have to cross the creek right here or do it from the road, which this wouldn't be I don't know. I don't think that'd be a very smart way to do it. But anyway, moving on. Of course, I'm just speculating right now. Someone called the. Uh, I received a visit from animal control in regards to 911 calls stating my goats were out, and I was told I would receive a citation the next time this happens, which to me is a bit strange. There's a lot of people up here that raises livestock, and livestock gets out. That's how they roll. They get out. If they can find a way out of the fence, then they're getting out. And for someone to call 911 because your livestock's out, I do find that kind of strange. However, I can kind of see it happening in today's age. I mean, this isn't like it was 30 years ago, say. People are something else. Let's see. 2 days later, before discover, discovering my wire was cut and covered with dirt, I received a visit from the sheriff's office about this. These people put a lot of time and money into building this hostel whenever they build it, like driving into work, and they did a pretty fair job at building the fence, much better, more than what I would have put into it. Of course, if my goats got out, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Yeah, goats get out. I don't know how many times I've been out and horses and cows are in the road. Do they call 911 if a deer jumps out in the road? I mean, it's crazy. Why not go to your neighbor? That just seems like somebody being a butthole to me. Why not go to your neighbor and complain about it? I have. Guys that got cows, and cows get out, and they came up, stampeded through my garden, and ate all my deer corn, which wasn't a big deal, but the guy was neglect on repairing the fence, and he did repair the fence, and it wasn't a big deal. I dang sure didn't call the law. You know, I did tell him that if it keeps on happening, then I'd be eating me some good steak dinner, and that's the truth. I mean, sorry, dude, keep your cows over there. At least try to. So he goes on about the biggest issue is that I only know less than a handful of people here. I don't even know where these people are from. Apparently, they're not from around here. One thing you learn if you live around these parts is we are a clannish people that are highly aware and suspicious of outsiders. I mean, that might have a part to play in it too. But you do know your neighbors, right? And most of my neighbors are my kin around here. Some of them's distant. Back whenever this country was first settled, my family, I can name two or three other families. I'm not going to kind of moved into this area and settled it. And there's like 4 or 5 different families that was on this creek, and it's a creek that branches off, and it's lots of acreage. But that's how they did, and these families would have a lot of kids to help do the farm work and chores and all that. Another thing is the guy that owns one of the families that owns a lot of property around here. Their house was built before the Civil War, and they've been here for a long time. But um, he used to raise goats in a couple places, and I've said this in some of my videos before. Uh, his fence kept getting tore down in the same couple places, and which it wasn't electrified or anything like that, but he did have the goat fence, and he did have a pretty sturdy fence put up, but in the same places, and there wouldn't be trees or anything down across it. Just the fence would they look like somebody ran through it with a bulldozer. So I'm gonna go try and get up with this guy, and I don't want to, just go up to the guy and say, "Well, you think it was Bigfoot?" you know, I'm going to see what he has to say. I'm going to let him do most of the talking, kind of like what I do whenever someone comes on here. I let them do most of the talking. I'll sit back and listen, and then I might interject with, "Well, have you ever heard of wood boogers?" And again, that's a local term. It's used all throughout the Appalachians and some places down in the South. Wood boogers, woods boogers, wood boogers, or just boogers. I mean, it's a term kind of like the booger man. Yeah, they do have two dogs. Jay, you drove right by it. The two big white dogs, and I cannot think the name of those dogs, but they are a dog that's specifically bred to guard goats and sheep from coyotes and wolves. So these aren't little lap dogs that scared of their own shadows. They're pretty mean dogs. Great Pyrenees, exactly, Jay. Thank you. I've been thinking about that all day, and I could not think what that was. My neighbor had them down here with his goats. Well, the thing is I haven't really went and talked to my neighbors about this, just for the simple fact I want to keep it pure around here. You know how people are, especially teenagers and stuff. Hey, this guy up here thinks he's got Bigfoot on his property. Let's go mess with him. And kids will do stuff like that. I mean, that's the truth. Also, if somebody's out here messing with me, they're liable to get shot. I mean, that's just the truth. That's what goes on around here. You don't sneak around somebody's place after dark or in the daylight, but especially after dark, you just don't do it, or you're gonna get shot. That's the rules. I didn't write them, but I will obey them. You don't call the cops here, okay? You call the cops afterwards. But anyway, I want to see what the guy thinks. I want to see if the wire was cut with a tool, and kind of go from there. The deer thing is going to be interesting. I'm wondering if it was the whole body of a deer. They say with its head cut off, which we've had problems with people. Sorry, y'all. Still got this stupid head cold that will never go away. We've had problems around here. Somebody, I think actually, whenever Jay and Pam and them was up here, somebody was spotlighting, which is illegal here. To even spotlight deer is illegal, much less shoot them. But it does happen. People do illegal things. Well, I think he's asking for help. I think he's reaching out to his neighbors to see if anybody knows anything. I've got a private page on Facebook that I started after someone came up here and stole some stuff, and then they stole some stuff from Uncle Bob, and uh, basically I put the fear of God into this guy. And then we had trouble a few months back, actually, whenever the people were up here camping. Another crackhead on a 3-wheeler would drive around. He stole a bunch of stuff. And yeah, I kind of got on to him in front of Jay and Pam and all that. But I don't like thieves or liars or anything like that, and I don't want them around me. I don't want them. I definitely don't want them on my property. But I would like to talk to the guy, and I don't want to come right out and say anything about Bigfoot. They might be having their house slapped. They might be having things thrown at them. Some of their livestock might go missing. And that's one thing I am going to talk to them about is leaving food out because they got food. Uh, they feed their dogs, they feed their goats. I think I've seen cats around there. I know the neighbors have some critters running around too. And, that's one thing that draws them in here. Someone mentioned, and I thought about it mentioning game cams, but I'm going to bring one of these cheap game cams I have until they get one of their own. And see if that might take care of the issues. But they might not. Guys, it could be a person. I don't know. I'm not going to know until I talk to them a little bit. No, they don't see them making, but this guy still had them. He probably stole off somebody. Yeah, shotgun doesn't use much discrimination. But I mean, if somebody's trespassing around your property after dark and without hollering out or calling out or letting you know they're coming by, they're probably up to no good. But the people don't live very far from me. I'm going to say in a straight line, which I don't see a scale or anything on here. It kind of sucks. I'm right up this way though. Why is there a scale on this? But right here, and you can see the fence. My cousins, like I said, this used to be a great uncle's house, and some of his kids moved in there, and they raised draft horses. They were huge. They were great big old horses, and this was one of their fenced in areas, and this is where the goats are. I think they got goat houses here now and all that. This is the meandering creek, and you can kind of see where it used to cut over this way. Now it's cut back this way, and all this stays swampy in here. But right across the creek, this is going straight up a hillside. Straight up hillsides here, and over there, it's pretty big holler. There's a pond up that holler. Used to go fishing at, but I want to look, especially right in here and over in here for human observation posts that boogers might have built. For right in here, I saw eyeshine tonight coming in. It could have been deer. There were deer out tonight. And then back in here would be a good place to look for structures to see if they built any human observation places there. I'll zoom out a little bit here, and you can see it's pretty remote. There is another house right here, and maybe a few more back up this holler. There's probably just one back up that holler, and one right here at the entrance of it. So there's a few houses scattered out. Then you go up the road, and there's a couple more houses. Then you go on up. There's just houses here and there, and you know, I guess a community. It's our neighborhood. But a holler is a place between two mountains. Yes, it's matter. We've got gullies too. A gully's more. A holler is more something where you could actually build a house. A gully is just a like a drainage area between. Here, I'll show you. For instance, this would be the holler. And people, I've heard it say that, somebody from this house could holler across to their neighbors across the way. This would be a holler where you could actually have a field and build a house and stuff. These are more like gullies. You're not going to build up in here. I mean, I guess you could, but there's not a whole lot of flat room. It's pretty much straight up and down with the drainage going in. I know it's kind of hard to tell from this, but that's what it is. Like this would be a gully or a holler, I guess, whatever you want to call it. We call them wood boogers here. Other people call them Sasquatch. Some people might call this a holler or a hollow or a gully or a drainage or whatever. You live with the highest concentration of black bears in western North Carolina. Are you hibernating with them right now? Head of the holler. Booger bears. See, a lot down south you hear more boogers. They kind of drop the wood part off of them. And in the Appalachian Mountains, there's a rich history. It's mostly Irish and Scottish and English that came in and settled these. And they called them the over mountain men. And they actually had a Declaration of Independence before there was a Declaration of Independence. They were fighting against the tyrannical leadership of Britain. You love your 20 gauge to scare bears and people. You feel like a pretty good gal. Oh, Lord. I'm just reading through the comments now. But yeah, I'm gonna go talk to this feller, and there might be a lot more going on. I figured that maybe he would have mentioned it in there in his later if they are slapping the house and all this and that. And I'm trying to think if anything new has happened over there as far as logging or anything, but I don't think that it has. There has been a guy that's bought up some property and he has bulldozed down some barns and cleared up a bunch of clutter, and glad the guy done it because the people that did own it before are the ones you might want to take your 20 gauge to and scare them off. The guy on the three-wheeler, Jay. Yeah, I let him know that he wasn't welcome. I mean, the guy stole off Uncle Bob. I mean, Uncle Bob was good to him, and I think he gave him gas one time and let him use his air compressor, and then he came back over. That's what they'll do. They'll come in and act like they need to borrow something or need something, need your help, and they'll kind of scope out the area, then they'll come back when you ain't looking. What you might call a sneak thief. Really, guard. That's where I'm from, Logan, West Virginia, and my pappy also works in the mines all over there. Yes, I've killed myself a few times on three-wheelers and four-wheelers and motorcycles and all that. I need to pay more attention to this chat. You're all on it tonight. Yeah, a lot of people call them booger lights. it started raining. I swear, as soon as I started coming home tonight, it started raining. And the closer I got to here, the harder it rained. And which I can't complain much because tomorrow it is. It's. I don't think it's raining now. I think that it got it out of the system. However, that rain, which I'm glad about this, so I'm not complaining at all about it. I mean, it just kind of sucks that it's going to be muddy, but anyway, I can deal with it. But it's tomorrow. The high is supposed to be 35. Saturday, the high is 35, but it's supposed to be sunny and nice out, and that's perfect boogering weather or getting out and doing something weather for me, anyway. I don't like it whenever it's real hot. I'm gonna try. I mean, like I said, I think the boogers might be over there scoping out the goats. There hasn't been much going on, which I don't know. I guess I've been pretty busy in here. I got all my floor and stuff done. I'm trying to get that. I about got the bedroom finished. I'm gonna work on that some more. I gotta go over to Uncle Bob's. I'm putting up the trim work. I got a bunch of lumber up in the barn, and I gotta run it through his planer. I don't have a planer. It's on my list. So. Yeah, I heard about a flood warning up there. I need to call a guy. He actually had talked to Carrie and then got my email and messaged me, and he's been having problems. He's from over, I think, around Daniel Boone National Forest, which is west of me, and he's been having problems with the boogers. So I need to get up with him and talk with him a little bit and inform him about game cameras and to be careful with the food and such. Well, like the people are new too, so the boogers are probably interested in where they're new people, and yeah, they. I know, pretty sure he's got an older son that's maybe in his mid-teens because I seen him out today whenever I went into work, and the guy we talked to, no, I've never met the guy, but the boogers are probably curious. Plus, on top of that, they've got goats out there and goat feed and dog feed. Yeah, all right, be careful, Andrew. Yeah, that's why I want to go talk to him about it. And again, it could be humans. I don't know, but it's always good to meet your neighbors and maybe invite him if he's on Facebook to the. Like I said, I got a Facebook crime watch thing that I started up. Got a few people on there, and if something happens, it's just a good way to hey, be on the lookout for such and such vehicle or person or whatever. Like whenever we had the convict running around, just a good form of communication to get a warning out to others. But I mean, it's possible I go there and I start talking to the guy, and he's able to say, "Well, I don't think it's a human. I seen such and such," and he might open up the line of talk about the boogers. So um, we'll just see how it goes. I mean, I'm definitely going to mention something, but I'm going to ease into the conversation and get some of the facts of the case first before I say anything. I mean, I don't want him to know that I'm crazy until he gets to know me a little bit better. To know I'm a good kind of crazy. If that makes any sense. Well, I mean, if it looks, if it looks like it's a person, then I probably won't mention nothing about boogers. But if it looks like, he's like, man, them stupid goats is out there eating 100 pounds of goat feed, and the dogs is eating 50 pounds of dog food a week, and something smacking on my house, then yeah, uh, I'll bring it up for sure. Wouldn't that be something if he came on the channel and he's like, man, I'm having the same problem, like in the chat or something? That'd be pretty crazy. I've got a couple of perimeter alarms. And thank you, Gordon. Gordon sent me a beautiful, beautiful pipe. I'll post a picture of that pipe on the About section on YouTube. And if you all don't know what that is, I've been posting a little bit to it. It's a new feature that they have on YouTube. My slow computer get to it. And someone asked the question the other day about the backstory to my farm, and it's actually in here. I can't remember the. Oh, it's under the About or not. I don't know. It's somewhere. Maybe it have to be somebody else looking. But I've been posting some of the pictures that I got, and like this structure, for instance, this is a dead limb. This limb came off the end of this tree. However, somehow it got right here, and it's straight up and down, and the only thing holding it is this little stick here. I posted that a while ago. Some comments on it. Then here's a twist, snapped off bush that's being wrenched around and twist. You can actually see the twisting. I've got some better pictures of it, but I can't find them. But it's something interesting. New feature on YouTube. Y'all check it out. I think Hiker Dave's been using it too. But I will post a picture of that pipe. It is a beautiful pipe, Gordon, and I love it. I haven't tried it yet though. I didn't want to try it while I was at work, but now I've got my shower and everything. I don't want to get it all dirty. That's what my corn cob pipe's for. That's limbs, uh, trees and limbs. They will break over for sure. But what I look for is like a twist in it, because if you got snow or wind or whatever, it's not going to have that twist to it. It's going to be snapped straight, more than likely. And another thing, like Jay said there, weaving. You look for weaves in them. Trees basically grow straight. A lot of species of trees grow up straight. Some of them will lean out. Trees will grow towards the sun, and whenever they fall, they can make all sorts of patterns. Where I work at mechanic work, Cece gave me a pipe before also, and I'll use it every once in a while. But it's more of my evening pipe. But I'll use these corn cobs. I've got one that I dropped. I'm wondering if it's going to show back up here at the house. That'd be pretty cool if it did. I agree, Diane. However, I am a kind of a hermit, I guess you would say. You know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that I even have a YouTube channel, but I'm a loner, and I don't like to get in groups of people. I mean, I do like talking to people and getting to know people, but as far as groups and stuff like that, I don't know. I just don't. I'd rather have boogers for neighbors, to be honest with you. Folks are strange critters. Absolutely, they've tricked the alarms before. I've done tests with them. The alarms, motion sensors, they use infrared, and they have messed with them before. And I will put a camera up in that same exact spot. They won't mess with it. And whenever I say stuff like trail cams, they won't get in front of a trail cam. I've done about every test that I could dream up for people's mentioned stuff. I've put out the infrared. That's why I'm not totally sure it's the infrared in the cameras that they stay away from. It's something about the cameras. And I honestly think what I honestly think on the cameras is they see people go out, put them in the woods, put a deer feeder up there. They see the deer coming into them, and bam, the deer gets shot. So maybe they're relating that camera with the deer. I don't know. Maybe it is the infrared on it. Maybe it's the noise they make. Fact is, we don't know what it is, but they don't like to get in front of them. I suppose someone could get lucky with a game camera, but I don't think it's very likely. I use them around here to keep them out of areas. Yeah, agreed. This chat is flying. Bless your heart, looking up 777. Well, some trees depending on the size. Once a tree gets the size of a Coke can, then it's going to take a lot of strength to do it. And say if you got a maple tree, that's going to be easier to do than a oak tree or a locust tree or something like that. And I found locusts, oaks, and all sorts of different ones that have the twist in them, and that takes some strength to do that. I mean, I actually do like people more than I do a wood booger. I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying that, man, some people's crazy, and I don't know. Good fences make good neighbors. In my case, good mountains make good neighbors. That's all. I don't trust a Bigfoot, but anyway, I guess that's all I got to say tonight. Like I said, I'm going to try to get over there. I don't know if I'm going to get anything recorded. I mean, if they're cool about it, then maybe we can do something like that. But that's just like I wouldn't go over there and say, "Hey, that's probably Bigfoot chewing your wiring too and hang a dead deer on your fence." I'm not going to come up and shove a camera in his face. I mean that would make me the crazy person for sure, uh, and probably not a very good neighbor. Someone suggested I bring him a, and I like the guy, and I'm not making fun of you or anything, but bring him a store bought pastry or something like that, and I told him I might bring him some eggs or something like that because. I guess he's coming off that this guy might be a paranoid person because of all this stuff happening to him or whatever. But I mean, you got to kind of put yourself in his shoes. The guy's new to the neighborhood, don't know many people, and maybe he is a paranoid person. I probably don't need to give him a pastry full of GMOs anyway. I won't give the booger a pastry. So far, I don't think I've got any more boogers, possums in the barn. I think I've got any more boogers in the barn anyway. All right, CC, see you later. I think I'm gonna get jump off here too. That's about all I got tonight. I'm gonna check them out and I'll get back with you. Like I said, it's supposed to be nice this weekend, so I'm gonna be out playing. Y'all have a good night, have a good weekend, and God bless.